In this video, Mark Ford talks about how to address low-quality meetings that are being booked on your calendar.
I just had a couple general questions. I've started to get some traction with ads that I'm running and had about 6 meetings booked so far. But the quality of the appointment, when I say meeting, I mean phone appointment, is pretty bad.
Okay, tell me about that.
So it's people with, I guess they just don't have they're looking for other help. They're looking like, I do special needs financial planning, and they're looking for resources that's not offered anywhere in my ad, my sales letter, my opt-in page. They're asking for things like, I need financial help for, my 21-year-old son who's switching from high school to, group home. They're looking for these other types of resources that doesn't really involve anything that I do. And I'm just, I have no problem talking to them and telling them that, but it just seems to be a waste of time. So I'm wondering how could that be solved with more questions on the appointment page, or just how to go about handling it.
Yep. So that's one way for sure to handle it, so that even if you do get an appointment, you can disqualify it before actually taking it. How have you had any good appointments?
Not really. I mean, so far I've had 6 booked. I've talked to 2 people who didn't post, talked to 3 of them who were not financially qualified, and then I've got 1 at 4 o'clock today. So.
Gotcha. Okay, so what are the questions that you're asking in your survey?
Basically, like what 2 things are you hoping to get out of the call? What financial challenges do you have? And then there's one more, if you could do anything different about your financial plan, what would it be? Or if you could go back 5 years and do something different, what would it be? I mean, pretty vague stuff, nothing real specific.
Okay, I would have something very specific in there, so that if there's a data point that tells you this is qualified, this is not qualified, I would want to be asking that question.
Okay.
And it may be related to income, or it may be, and there may be an and or an or. So it may be income. It also may be, do they have money saved?
Okay.
So for you, what does somebody who is qualified, who's kind of the sweet spot of somebody that you help?
Well, number one, they have assets to pay a planning fee. The $3,000 the planning fee. So that's, and they have the desire to do that. And then 2, it's, they've got, 401ks, IRAs. I don't really have an asset limit per se, because a lot of people that I deal with, some of them have 100,000, some of them have 2 million. So I don't really set an asset limit. So, but mainly the desire to do the planning fee, and then also we do usually comes with that some insurance.
Okay, cool. So it may be income that would be the qualifier.
How do you word that? I mean, just
what's your annual income?
Okay.
And make it a range. You could be like 30 to 50,000, 50 to 75,000, 75 to 125.
Okay.
125 to 200. I mean, just create the ranges that make sense.
Okay.
And it could also be like 0 to 30
Okay.
or between 10 and 30. Like create your ranges so that way, like the combination of the answers to the questions starts to give you the insight of, right, who's coming through, where do they fit on the spectrum, and in terms of like qualification. And then what that will allow you to do is to test different audiences to see if you can improve the quality. You can also tweak your ad messaging to see if that improves the quality. But
Okay.
rather than like abandon ship on your VSL, I would look for iterations on your ad as well as your ad targeting. And before we would assume that it's the ad itself, I would look at the ad targeting.
Okay.
And for sure, I would have some additional questions in the survey so that you start to get a really clear picture of the people that are coming in and kind of where they fit.
Okay. And then if they fall, like say it's, $50,000 or of income or below or whatever my limit is, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really nothing I can do to help those people. I mean, what do you do? Just send them an email? I mean, how do you handle just not taking the appointment?
I just send them an email.
Okay.
Yep. Just be like, hey, just based on your survey, it doesn't look like I would be the best person to help you out.
Yeah. Okay. And then the only other issue I'm having is I've had two appointments booked,
Mm-hmm.
two calls booked with grandparents that were
Mm-hmm.
looking. They were just, hey, my kids are, I have a grandson. I'm trying to help my son or daughter, plan for them. They don't really ever pan out to be anything, just because they're sort of trying to gather information to pass on to somebody.
Sure. So you might have, in terms of kind of how to run the process, the initial call might just be a 15-minute qualification call. So you're not
Okay.
taking up a whole lot of time, but you're
Right.
figuring out really quickly is, what's the points of alignment or lack of alignment.
Okay.
And I think what's also really interesting is you're also gaining quite a bit of insight into how the market is responding to your message.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're finding that 2 appointments out of the 6 were grandparents looking for information, what's really, really powerful about social media is that your message can get to the people even if the people don't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, in that qualification meeting, if it's say a grandparent that shows up, I would leverage that as a point of it sounds like there's a real need here. Um, you know, how do we and who needs to be on the next call to get your family some help?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, it is cool. It blows my mind that all this stuff is happening just from, I think I've spent $500 in 2 weeks of doing it, and something's working. I just have to now figure out how to make it work better.
It really what becomes is dialing things in, like making some changes to the system so that you're bringing the right people in. The people that are not right, you're tracking that. And it's also really good to have conversations because you start to also hear all the different questions that people have too,
Yeah.
which you can feed right back into your ad message. You can also feed it back into your VSL messaging to say this is who this is not for. These are people who I can't really help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Yeah. Because I've been, as I go through each call, I am taking, whether the call lasts 5 minutes or 25 minutes. I mean, I'm taking a lot of good notes and, getting the verbiage get a lot of that stuff down. So yeah, that's not going to go wasted.
No, for sure. I mean, one way to look at it is you are buying market research.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's all I had today. Appreciate the pep talk.
You got it.
Thanks, man.
Sure thing.